Programming language of the week.
So what have you been using for programming recently, David?
So,
Dan?
Thank you.
No, David.
Whoa.
What have you been using for programming
Yes,
recently, David?
I've been really getting into functional languages recently.
Really?
Yeah, so I really like the idea of Haskell.
What
Well,
programming
tell David what he has to do.
Okay, so what we were thinking about doing is sort of like, oh, what have you been doing? I've been working with X, and I have these problems with it. What are the problems you have? They're X, Y, and Z. How do you solve them? Oh, if it were functional, if it were lazy evaluation, if it were pure, if it were more mathematical.
I'm not on camera, I'll let you guys do it.
Yeah, alright, if you guys want to do it, we can
Okay.
yeah.
So our next segment is called Programming Language of the Week.
Fuck.
So, I've been using the shit out of Ruby because I know that, and I know PHP and other things, but Ruby's what I've been using lately.
Yeah, I've been running a lot of Ruby.
And honestly, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It's like spooning like an old girlfriend.
I can hear a million nerds just raging out there because I said Ruby is great.
Ruby is actually perfect. I think it's actually...
It's a great language.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But it's not challenging.
No.
It's not challenging, and it only does it's only single threaded.
No, I think it could be challenging if you need it to be. I mean,
No.
sometimes it's challenging.
It's so obvious.
I can
when you
actually
block a
read
Ruby
it.
code. Yeah, you can
I
read
can
it.
read the code.
It says what it does, and
Yeah.
it is.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's awful.
I need
Like,
something
you can't.
that's
You
terrible.
can't hide Easter
And
eggs in it.
I want something where I've got to look up every other word in the manual.
Yeah, all of the functions in Ruby, they just make sense.
I want a programming
ordering is
language that
perfect.
requires every
Yes.
coder to have a beard.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Yes. Yes.
the beard is so you can take notes in the beard.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Exactly.
You store the notes
Why do you
in the
guys think
beard.
I grew this?
Why? What language do you think? How about you guys? What do you guys code in?
I basically work at Facebook, so of
Yeah.
course I also use Ruby.
Okay.
Naturally.
As everybody knows, Facebook is written completely in Ruby.
Rails. It's a Rails app.
Yeah, Rails that compiles to
Rails.
Django.
It's a specific version of Rails that compiles to C++ to run better performance-wise. There are some eccentricities involved in the different Rails-isms. The connection to the database and stuff is a little bit different, etc., etc. But generally, it's Rails.
It's Rails that compiles to C++, that then compiles to PHP.
Yes.
And then it goes back to C++.
Of course, PHP. I mean,
Right.
we want it to work well.
That's yes.
Yeah.
Like how exactly would we insert our SQL injection errors if we didn't go through PHP?
How
like
else
that.
would you find your needles in your haystacks?
Yeah. Like,
Obviously. Okay, so that's cool.
so Tim, you work at Apple, so
Yeah, I work at Apple Computers with a K, and we're hiring if anyone wants a job disassembling iPhones in Shenzhen. But I've been writing a lot of our front-end stuff in JavaScript, which is amazing. You know, you get to do all that flashy, front-end stuff.
That's actually on my resume.
Yeah.
JavaScript.
Yeah, me too.
Woo! I've done the woo!
Yeah, the woo part.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of that, and it's fun, but like I've got all this state I'm carrying around, and like my functions are so impure. They're just like they are the dirtiest functions ever. It's gross.
So Tim, for most of your front-end client stuff, the stuff in the browser, have you considered Ruby?
I have considered Ruby that compiles to C++, that compiles to PHP.
That compiles to JavaScript.
That then kicks you in the balls. But it's just like it's not mathematical enough. It's more like a bro punching you in the face. Like, why are you hitting yourself? I want more like the neckbeard that's sitting there going like, how could you do this more lazily? Right?
What would you use?
So I think it makes sense. I think
we all know. It's unanimous.
It's clear.
Yeah.
The answer?
Three?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Visual Basic.
What? Visual Basic?
Wait, what?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Wait. Haskell.
Haskell.